Good afternoon, students. I am Dipali Devi, your geography teacher. We are discussing about agriculture, chapter number 4 from your textbook. Types of farming. In our last class, we discussed about types of farming, and I want to repeat again the types of farming. About the in short, that farming is practiced in various ways across the world, depending upon the geographical conditions, demand of produce, labor, and level of technology. Farming can classify into two main types. Farming, two types of farming are there. One is the subsistence farming, another is commercial farming. Subsistence farming doing only to meet the need of the families and using household labor, household the ancient tools like that, and they are basically depends on the natural process. The subsistence farming again divided into two types: the intensive subsistence farming and primitive subsistence farming. Intensive subsistence farming, they are using the simple plot of land, simple tools, and using more labor only to meet the needs of the family members. And they do the in a small plot of land, they do the mainly their crops is mainly the rice is the main. Then after that they are doing this is their these are not primary. Rice is the main primary crop, and others are the secondary: wheat, maize, pulses, oilseeds, like that. And in this type of agriculture, the thickly populated areas where monsoon climatic conditions are there, basically Southeast and the East Asia is the region to do this type of agriculture. The primitive subsistence agriculture means the ancient peoples. The ancient peoples, they are moving from one place to another place, as they have not their own land, they have not their permanent settlement like that. In thickly forested areas, they are roaming and they do this type of cultivation like the shifting cultivation. And another farming is there, nomadic farming. The shifting cultivation means the people, they are taking some animals along with them, and basically in the Amazon basin, tropical Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, and Northeast India, in these parts, some peoples, they are changing their places for their for the purpose of rearing animals. Along with them, they selected the that means where the maximum grasses are available. And regeneration of vegetation means the grasses grown immediately due to the heavy rainfall in that area. And some crops they are doing in that area, like the potatoes, cassava, yam, maize, like that. They selected one plot of land and cleared the land, and the which the unwanted plants they fired. Then after that, the fired areas, the fired plants, the acids are mixed with the soil and uh, growing the fertility of the soil. So in that type, they do this type of agriculture, and which are matured in a short period of time. After that, when they harvested the crop within the short period of time, that means the within the 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, like that, not in a year, not having a year, they selected another plot. They selected another plot because of the fertility of the soil is finished going to be finished, so they change the place, change the plot, again selected another plot. In a same process, they started to do this type of agriculture. They have shifting the place from one place to another place, so this cultivation is known as the shifting cultivation. And another name of this shifting cultivation is the slash and burn cultivation. This shifting cultivation or slash and burn cultivation is known as in different names in different places. So in Northeast Asia, it is known as zooming. In Mexico, it is known as milpa. In Brazil, it is known as roca. And in Malaysia, it is known as ladang. The nomadic herding, nomads, mainly the nomads are known as, in this is the Assamese term, it is known as the oghori. They have not their own land, own their permanent settlement like that. And they are living in the arid or semi-arid regions, like for example in the nearby the deserted areas. So nearby the regions of Sahara, Central Asia, and some more parts of India also. Then in India, there is a deserted area like Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir. In Rajasthan, there is a hot desert, and Jammu and Kashmir, in Ladakh, there is a cold desert. In this type of farming, herdsmen move from one place to another place along with their animals for fodder and water. So they are searching the food and anyway water also. Water is the most essential part in our life. That means the plants and animals or the human beings along defined routes in having in different ways they are going. This type of movement arises in response to climatic constraints. That means where the climatic condition is suitable in that part, they are selecting and along with their animals. Sheep, camel, yak, and goats are most commonly reared. These are the types of animals having along with them. They provide milk, meat, wool, hides, and other products to the herders and their families. So from this, they earn the money to lead their family for their economic purpose. Next is the commercial farming. Commercial farming doing for the commercial purposes, and these are doing in a large manner. They are selecting the large area of land, then have using the maximum amount of capital and using the scientific way, use scientific ways, the machineries, the chemicals are using mixed with the land like that. So to grow the fertility of the soil, to do this type of farming, this is in a commercial purpose, not for to meet their families, meet the need of their families. So commercial purpose is the grain farming and the plantation farming. Plantations also there. And in case of grain farming, the mixed farming also there. The grain farming means the wheat, maize, the commonly these are grown in that area, and some areas for the in North America, Europe, and Asia grown. And in a temperate grassland means they having the temperate regions. Already you know the which region is known as the temperate region. That means 23.5 degree north to 66.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south to 66.5 degree south. In these two parts, northern part and the southern part from the equator, this area known as the temperate area. And in that area, the grasslands having grasslands lying the North America, Europe, and Asia. So in that area, this type of farming doing. These areas are sparsely populated. Firstly means less the population density is low and the settlement is low with large farms. The farm area is very large, spreading over hundreds of hectares. Like that, hundreds of hectares amount of land area. Severe winters restrict the growing season. That means in the severely winter season, the growing is very slow. The crops are growing very slow. So only single crop grown in that area in the winter season. In mixed farming, the land is used for growing food and fodder crops and rearing livestock. There, in case of the mixed farming, they are doing the crops and sometimes they rear the animals. Because of what? Because from that crops they can earn the food for the livestock also. For example, the after harvesting the rice in our areas, straw are used to for the food for the cows and buffaloes like that. It is practiced in Europe, Eastern Asia, Argentina, Southeast Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. These are the regions. After that, the plantation farming. Plantations are the types of commercial farming. A single crop of tea, coffee, sugarcane, cashew, rubber, banana, or cotton are grown. These are permanently doing. The sugarcane, it is not, it cannot be harvested immediately. There is a particular time to mature to harvest. The coffee also, the tea like that. These are the main plantation farmings are there, and these are doing in a large area, having the large area, using the large amount of capitals like that. The large amount of labor and capital are required. So the in you see for the tea plantation, coffee plantation, the maximum labors are used, the maximum labor used, and the large area covering like that. Large amount of labor and capital are required. The produce may be processed on farm itself. So you see, in nearby the tea estate and nearby the farm, the factories are located. So the production, the product things processed in nearby factories. The development of a transport network is thus essential for such farming. So transport and communication is very essential for that because of to to send these products one place to another place. The transport network is very essential in case of plantation farming. Major plantations are found in the tropical regions of the world. Rubber in Malaysia, coffee in Brazil, tea in India and Sri Lanka are some examples. So the students, the major crops are there. Major crops are mainly the rice, wheat, millets, maize, cotton, jute, coffee, tea, like that. These are the major crops, and you see and read the chapter properly and take out the leading producer state or the country for that particular crops and the places where these are grown. What is the climatic condition required and soil, what type of soil is needed, like that. Then you should read and note down the important things. So in case of rice, it need high temperature, high humidity and high rainfall. In case of rice cultivation, it grows best in alluvial clay soil. The soil type is the alluvial clay soil, and which can retain water. That means then it the water persistence is maximum in that type of soil. China leads in the production of rice, followed by India, Japan, Sri Lanka, and Egypt. In favorable climatic conditions, as in West Bengal and Bangladesh, two or three crops are grown in a year. So, in some areas, this type of crop can do in a only one time in a year. But in case of some due to some climatic conditions which are favorable for these crops, like West Bengal, Bangladesh, like that, in that areas, two or three crops grown in a year. That means three or two times do. After that, wheat, like that, you should note down the climatic condition and the temperature, the types of the soil, like that. You should note down yourself. I am not going to explain these are. After that, agricultural development. Agricultural development means you see the always the peoples, the human beings are doing agriculture. But what is the meaning of the agricultural development? Agricultural development means the development of the uh, people, the system, Like that, these are the things in case of agricultural development that I want to read. Agricultural development refers to efforts made to increase farm production in order to meet the growing demand of increasing population. So nowadays the population growth is day by day increasing. So the demand also increasing. So production should be more comparing with the other days. So need the agricultural development. This can be achieved in many ways, such as increasing the crop area. So land area should be increased. The number of crops grown. So if early in early days the crops are growing, only single crops are growing in a year. But in case of to show the agricultural development, the cropping seasons, the crops, 2, 3 types of crops have to do in a same plot. Improving irrigation facilities instead of manual irrigation system. Then the irrigation system should be in a scientific way. Use of fertilizers and high yielding variety of seeds. Then in early days, the seeds are not examined in the laboratories. The fertilizers they are not using in early days. So the using the high yielding variety of seeds, that means which are examined in the laboratories, the production are more. So these are the things that developed. The development always compared with the early days. Other days in ancient time or the early times, the peoples are not doing like that. So nowadays, the based on the science in a scientific way, the mechanization of agriculture and the high yielding using the high yielding seeds, the irrigation system also developed. Like that, these are using only for the production and the food security. Only with the high production and the food security is known as the agricultural development. Agriculture has developed at different places in different parts of the world. Developing countries with large populations usually practice intensive agriculture where crops are grown on small holdings, mostly for subsistence. Larger holdings are more suitable for commercial agriculture in USA, Canada, and Australia. With the help of two case studies of farms, one from India and the other from the USA, let us understand about agriculture in the developing and developed countries. So you see, the agricultural development, then in early days, some people are doing the only single crop once in a year, but in some places where they are doing the 2, 3 types of crops in the same plot in a year by using the high variety of seeds, by using the high technology, by using the uh, scientifically used the manures, scientifically proved the manures, and some the the different types of crops are doing in that small plot of land also. But in some areas, they're using the more labor in a small plot of land. The production is also less and the labor also high. The plot is also small like that. So there are some differences in case of India and in case of USA. The USA is a developed country and the India is a developing country. What are the differences in between the farmers? If the farmers of India and farmers of USA, we will discuss in our next class. So thank you, and this much for today, and thank you all of you.